What's going on today? Thanks for checking out the video. I'm going to show you guys a project that I'm working on. It is currently not finished, and talk to you about some of the things that I've done, some of the things that I'm going to have to redo on the project. I've had about 5 or 6 of these Dunlop crybabies over the years. They tend to, at some point in time in their life, either electronically or mechanically fail, and because I'm not a gigantic wok connoisseur, I tend to just replace them with a crybaby. They're relatively inexpensive to find secondhand, easy to obtain, and they can take a good beating before they end up falling apart, although over time they will. So I had a couple spare housings and decided it would be a fun thing for me to do with my kids to refinish some of them, let them paint on it myself, and then hopefully at some point in time in the future replace the electronics in the ones that had electronical issues, and they would have something that they could enjoy and show that we had made together. So how do you get this to this? First things you're going to want to do, you're going to need a couple tools for this. Most of them are basically the same design model, although there are some small differences depending on what era they were produced in. Remove your screws, remove your battery door, especially if you have a little battery sitting in there. Now's the time to take it out. Look, one of the old batteries. Right, now that that's out of the way, you've got access to the PCB board and the guts. Do not be weirded out if there is a bunch of weird goop on the inductor. This is pretty normal and is there to help keep traction. First, what you should do is unscrew this little guy right here. Then using a wrench, take off the nuts around the input and output. After that, lift up and using the same crescent wrench, pull off the nut going around the switch, and then very, very carefully, once that's done, loosen this so that the arm moves freely, and then pull this out. Your entire board with the attachments will lift right out of the wah. The next thing was something that actually took the longest, which was you have this little pin and head. For removal of this easily, what you'll need is a flat screw, very flat screw that will fit there, a hammer, and a wood block. Place the tread on the wood block and then gently tap the screw into this side with the hammer. This is going to take a while. It might require some force, and that will allow the pin to drop out. Once that's out, it's just a matter of unhooking a couple more screws before you'll end up with your 2 pieces. Once you have the 2 pieces, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to peel back the tread. If you want to put a tread down in the future, these are a cheap and easily replaceable piece that you can get. They even have some nice wooden ones that are a little bit more expensive, but the way I found to get the paint off the best way, this is going to have to come off. You're not going to be able to get it back on. And sorry, but that little crybaby nameplate is going to be going too. Once those guys are off, then the next step is to strip the paint. You want to strip it so you have a mirror finish. Now, after some trial and error, I discovered that the absolute easiest way to strip it was soaking the chassis in acetone. And then letting it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. Once that acetone has worked its magic, then you go through with some steel wool and it comes right off like butter. Now, there are quite a few layers of paint, so depending on the quality of the acetone, weather conditions, this process could actually take a while. However, you won't be putting in quite the same amount of elbow grease as buffing it by hand. You won't be risking the same potential for wearing off as much metal as you would if you went ahead and used a mechanical thing like a buffer. The metal was quite cheap and will easily scratch and dent, so definitely use care when you're using any tools on the metal. If at this point in time you've decided that your in-house kit is going to need some holes modified, which I have not done on this kit. This is a test run. I have several of these chassis, and if I end up liking this and think it's worth doing, I will probably do a couple more and drill some for some different options. But before priming and painting, you should go ahead and, using a Unibet, very slowly drill out any additional holes or any larger holes that you need. Once you have this all complete, the next step is to go ahead and I used a spray primer, prime it. This actually was one of my big mistakes on this initially. I did not let the primer dry enough. If you are doing this in cold weather, you will have to use the primer and then wait maybe over a day before applying the next coat. 3-ish coats will get you good coverage for painting with spray over it. And this was the 3 coats of primer with the 3 coats of spray paint. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime this guy out, which will take about a week given the current temperature being in the 30s where I'm at. And then I will go ahead and put on that nice base coat green that I love so much. And then we'll grab out some paint brushes once that's nice and dry and cured and go ahead and put some cool things on it. After that, I plan to hit it with a clear coat prior to reassembling the wah. Now, I am aware that I could use a small toaster oven to do heat curing, and this would speed up the process. I decided not to go ahead and invest in something. If you use an oven for painting, that oven is only going to be able to ever be used for painting. The fumes will never come out of it. And because I didn't want extension cords going through my garage with my children, I decided that I would go ahead and just play the patient waiting game. I will give an update once I have finished painting and am ready to reassemble. Thanks for checking out the video, guys.